when you are thinking about getting and stepping into your truth, whether it's you sharing your truth, maybe it's you going to serve other women and men who might be going through this, you may not want to get into the space yet of telling everything about it, but you go help other people. Know that there was a purpose in that. And those who do have something to say, 9 times out of 10, they also dealing with it themselves. They just wish they was as brave as you were. So I try my best not to make it about the people who don't and who won't and who have something to say, and think about the one who is making a decision right now. Because I don't decide to talk about it, or I don't decide to help in this space, they may not make the right choice.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty in You podcast. I am very honored and very excited for this guest today because she is just full of knowledge and she's been in this game for such a long time. So I know she's going to drop some amazing, amazing jewels today. She is known as the Queen of Profiting and has an incredible track record of helping over 6,000 authors turn their dreams into profitable realities. She is a 2-time TED Talk speaker, sharing her insights and expertise on the power of writing and entrepreneurship. As the CEO of the Book Profit Club, she continues to inspire and empower authors all around the world. Welcome to the Beauty in You podcast, Taurea Vision Avant. How are you, Mama?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly excited and truly honored. I love any opportunity that I can get to be able to use my words to impact the world. So I'm grateful to be here.
I'm excited to have you. You're amazing. And I love watching you on Instagram. Like, you're literally everywhere all the time. Girl, I don't know how you do it. But you are definitely like just spreading your wisdom everywhere and continuing to build everyone up while you do it. And you take your Sundays so seriously. You're always in the Word of God. I mean, I'm blown away by everything that you do.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Now it's actually Saturdays,
Oh,
but yeah, no, I definitely, this journey that God has put me on has just really truly been a blessing. And so I'm grateful that social media allows us to be able to share those blessings to, superstars like yourself. And so, Queen, I'm just so grateful and thank you. I know sometimes I can be like all over the place, but that's my personality. And I love to be able to just present myself as I am, who I am, and who God made me to be.
yeah, you're definitely always yourself. Like, there's not one moment where I'm like, oh my God, like you literally show up as you are. And I think that's even better because there's a lot of social medias out there that aren't that way. And you can tell, but you are always authentically yourself and you're not a gatekeeper. Like, whenever you have something that's going to help, you're always like, let me share this with y'all real quick. You know, whether you're in the car or you're walking, you're like, hey, let me share this with you guys. Let me tell you how to do this real quick. And I'm like, that is so dope because when I first started my journey and I was like asking people like, how do you do this? How do you, I did not get that at all. It was like, I don't know you like that. I'm not going to help. And you just like, no, let me tell you real quick so you can get on too.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, I think it was Zig Ziglar. I think it was Zig Ziglar, but he always said, if you help enough people to get what they want, you'll automatically get what you want. But what's crazy is about that even saying, when you even connect it to God and understanding the law of sowing seeds, you can never get a harvest without sowing seeds. And so I choose to operate in abundance. And I believe that anybody that is for me is always going to be there for me or be, in whatever capacity they're supposed to be. So I'm never afraid to give the tea. Okay. I am not a gatekeeper. I will give it all up. I will connect people to people as much as I can. And what's funny is now that, it's been a long journey. Trust me and believe. And like you said, everybody is not that way. And I've not always gotten that reciprocated, but I never look at the seed of where I sow it to be where the harvest comes from. And so now, even today, it's like I've sown seeds into other people, into other opportunities, but I have so many different things that are opening up, like an opportunity to be here today. And so I'm just grateful. I don't want to be a gatekeeper. God created all of us here to be able to impact the world. So I'm super excited. And again, like I always say, I'm grateful. I think I wake up and I say grateful all the time because I really
I love it. As you know, the Beauty in You podcast, we go deep into those rediscovery journeys. And I do want you to take me back a little bit. on your rediscovery journey, just what led you to where you are today? And you can start at whatever part of your journey that you feel was impactful. I know our experiences play a lot into who we are, but can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I love this whole rediscovery journey because in life you're always rediscovering. There's always what I like to call paradigm shifts. I mean, I didn't create that; I read that, but paradigm shifts are happening in our lives all the time. And essentially, what that is when the way that you saw something has totally shifted based on your experiences. How did I get to where I am today, girl? Like, there's so many different paradigm shifts that have happened in my life that we would be here all day. But for the sake of time, let's talk about specifically where I am right now. You know, what has caused me to be speaking so heavily about God? What has caused me to be in a space where, I can focus forward and not be deterred by even some of the setbacks. So at the beginning of this year, and of course, there's way more behind there because, I've gone through the heartbreaks. I've gone through losing my parents. I've gone through dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts. And so if you want to dig into those, we can. But at the beginning of this year, I was in a space where my lease was coming up, and I've always been one of those girls where when my apartment lease comes up, I don't mind moving to a new spot. I did do the buying of the home. I bought a townhome, but I don't mind moving to new spaces. I like it, as a matter of fact. I like new environments, and so the lease was up, and I did actually renew it. And I actually started dating someone. And I know, right? We were having these conversations just about, just life and making decisions. And in the process of me dating the person, there were so many different decisions that I had made immediately because I am a sucker for love, right? I'm a sucker for love. And so I had made a decision, what, I'm not going to renew my lease, even though I just started dating this guy, and possibly see how things work out. But how many of us also know that a lot of times what you think is going to be the journey is not the way it ends up? And so that person and we did not continue dating, but now I'm in this space where I done gave up my whole lease. I'm on this year-long vacation, but I also was introduced to what we call in our church the truth. We call it the truth because we do believe it is the truth. And so I started plugging into church. I started connecting with different types of individuals who I knew were focused on bigger and better things, bigger than I have ever even done, right? And I started to be in these new environments. And I can tell you that now, getting more connected into the church, now having a better understanding of how I can serve people in business, but not just in business, but what, like I always say, mind, body, and soul. I'm making some additional shifts. I did a whole broadcast about how I was going on a year-long vacation. You are the first person that I've actually told on a platform that may even be changing now too, so that I can do more of the gospel work, but at the same time continue to keep on empowering my brothers and my sisters to be able to increase their bank accounts. Because at the end of the day, it's much easier to do gospel work when you got funds coming in. It's much easier to do gospel work when you're mentally strong, when you're physically strong. So like that, meeting that guy was like a big shift for me. And it's now allowed me to look at things just totally different of how I'm going to live my life, being more minimalistic with things. If I can be honest, I've never been a big girl like on, labels and things like that. Like I've had them because I was in an industry where we would buy a lot of it and I would just literally like give it away. Like I'd buy a pair of $2,500 shoes and sell them for $30 or something because I couldn't wear them. But now I'm learning how to live a minimalistic life. I'm learning how to travel and how to be able to adapt in environments more than I've ever experienced. So like things are still the same, but they're a little bit different just based on where my focus is. So I would say that's the most recent paradigm shift. And guess what? We're still friends. Even the guy that I was dating, we're still friends and we're doing some stuff together too. So it's still a blessing.
That is very brave. I just want to say, I think all of it is brave because you just never know. You're right. We have a person that we meet or we think we want certain things out of life and then it switches and we're like, okay, what are we going to do? It's all about how we react to it. And the way you're able to take that experience and again, use those experiences to what you're doing now, I think is amazing. And it takes a certain type of strength to do that. But as you were talking, I was thinking of, I kept thinking of the word environment, like environment.
Okay.
And environment is so important. When you surround yourself around people who even see you beyond where you see yourself, and they start pouring things into you, it can make such a big difference. Like your mindset being positive matters, but having that positive environment, I think makes such a big deal. And I can see how even your environment is playing a role on what you're doing now and allowing you to be able to continue to give more to others.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let me tell you something, because even while I talk about the positive, this journey has still been a whole situation. Like, it has not been the easiest. And so you're right. Your environment plays a major role. So in the process of me making a decision that I'm going to do this year long, we had a conference that was coming up. It's like, we just had another conference, but we had a conference right around then. It was right at the end of the year, but at the beginning of the year is when I was making all these decisions. Girl, I was driving. So I'm a road warrior too. As you know, I'm always in the car, right? Like, I love the road. My car was full of all this stuff. I mean, probably thousands of pounds, right? And as I'm driving, mind you, okay, this is the whole story. So I'm driving to Atlanta from Houston so that I could get to Atlanta so that I could go to Dubai before my conference. Okay. Because I had been like just so overwhelmed. We talked about being tired, right? Needing to take some time. Before this conference, it was so much that was happening, because now that I've made a decision that I'm not going to renew the lease, I'm also having to make life-changing decisions about my dog that I've been with for 10 years, having to adopt him. Now, where am I going to do with all my stuff? Trying to sell all my stuff, trying to put stuff in store. It's just a lot, right? And I'm in the process of driving from Atlanta to Houston so I could go to Dubai for a couple of days before the conference, try to reset, and then come back, because the guy was there. So anyways, so I'm driving to Atlanta, and I get the notification to check into my flight for Dubai, because I was catching my flight in Atlanta. And at that moment, I had been driving 6 hours. I realized my passport is in the apartment back in Houston. So there's no possible way, because my flight is the next day, that I could get someone to overnight it. It just wasn't going to happen. So I literally turned around. So I turned back around to drive back another 6 hours so that I could drive another 12 hours to make this flight, right?
Oh my God.
So, girl. So I'm driving back, and all of a sudden this light pops on my car it says ABS. You know, us ladies, I don't know what that means. ABS, I don't know. It's, okay, it feels fine. It don't feel like nothing's wobbling. So I called my sister and I tell her, listen, when I get to Atlanta, I'm going to drop my car off, because she knows a mechanic out there. I'm going to drop my car off to the mechanic and get it fixed while I'm in Dubai, but I'm going to have to do it when I get back. I didn't think it was something that needed to be done right away. Word to the wise, if y'all see ABS pop on your car, take it to the mechanic immediately, or do not drive. So I'm driving, and I'm about 5.5 hours almost to the house. Okay. Because I still have the apartment. So I'm about 5.5 hours almost to the house. And all of a sudden the car is wobbling. Now it's about 1 a.m. as well. The car is wobbling. And I'm like, what in the world? So you know what we do, ladies, when the car is wobbling, we just turn the music down and try to see if we can hear. Like, yes. Why do we do that? So I turn the music down and I'm listening, and it's still wobbling. So I was like, oh man. So it's an exit coming up. So I go to get off the exit, and it was literally like, if you have never experienced a flash, like a life before you, where your life moves before you at a moment's notice, that's what happened, because I felt the tire coming off the car.
No way.
Girl, listen, it was coming off the car, and I'm driving about, now mind you, because I was getting off the exit, all praise to God, I was going a little bit slower, maybe 45 miles an hour or so.
Okay.
The tire comes off, and I feel the car do like this, swerve to the right, and then it snaps to the left. Remember, I have thousands of pounds of awards.
Stuff in your car.
So it's holding the car down from flipping. So instead of it flipping, it just spins around in a circle. At that moment, I just let my hands off the steering wheel, and all I could do was just pray, God, please keep me, please keep me, please keep me. So when I finally stop, I'm in the middle of the median, facing ongoing traffic. It's 1 a.m. Oh my goodness, what if this would have been at a different time? What if I would have almost made it to Atlanta? I would have been about an hour and a half out not close. I'm 30 minutes away from the house. So now I could get a tow truck to just drop the car in front. And
Right.
so what did that story tell me? Because a lot of people might have said, well, maybe that was a sign you shouldn't have been going to Dubai, or maybe that
I
was
was
a sign,
thinking that, like, maybe you shouldn't
or maybe,
go.
right, maybe you should. No. See, that's why a lot of times people give up in life. I did not get to where I am today by letting a circumstance that was honestly something that was technically beyond my control stop me in the midst of moving forward and taking action. So I looked at it as it was a blessing, because what if I would have been in Alabama somewhere in the Hicks and would have put, and my car would have came off the tire, because the tire was going to come off either way.
Right.
What if I would have been, I don't know, it's not even further in Mississippi, just anything could have happened. But it happened to me where I was 30 miles away and I was able to get my car towed, still take my trip, be refreshed, still come back to do the work. It also, I also had to make sure I told my clients, this is how much I care, because I flew back into Atlanta and drove to Houston so I could get everybody's awards and magazines so that they could have them at the conference. But this is just the type of mentality that I have, the determination that I have. If God gave me the vision to do something, I don't give up on it because I'm dealing with challenges. One thing I can tell you, we've been really studying the Bible. And when the Israelites were going through the desert for 40 years, they dealt with so many challenges. And they were like, Moses, why would you take us out of slavery if you were just going to put us through these challenges? The fact that you have a vision to do something, the fact that and this was not business, this was a personal thing, but the fact that you've been given something doesn't mean that you're going to deal with it without any challenges. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And so that was like just one little piece of even me making the decision. And so I choose to wake up every day and be grateful and be happy. It doesn't mean that I don't have days or that there's not setbacks or challenges. I choose to continue to keep pushing forward, because what else would I be doing?
Wow. Wow. That is true. You reminded me a little bit of my rediscovery journey in the beginning when it was really bad. Like I think maybe almost 10 years ago. And I was in my dark place of like the depression and the anxiety and the going through. And I still I hear the voice that's telling me like, keep going, keep going, keep going. But I was so, I guess, embarrassed or ashamed. And I didn't know how to process everything that had happened to me, that I kept trying to suppress the voice or silence the voice. Like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm too afraid to do this. I'm not going to do this. It's going to be too hard. Or people are going to judge me, or people are going to talk about me. And I just remember like going through that, but still hearing the voice even faintly, like, no, you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this. Push through. And so I did make the intentional choice to, start the Chiquita Mack and to share my healing journey with others and to help other women heal too. But I just, that moment, you're right, that choice, like I did not go through this. And I had to tell myself, like, I know that the Lord did not put me through all of that. There's a reason why I went through it. It was very extreme. It was very extreme. But now I feel like it had to be that extreme for me to understand and to be put in the position of what I'm doing today, if that makes any sense at all.
Absolutely.
I had to be at that point in my life because it would not have forced me to do what I'm doing now. And I'm no longer embarrassed by sharing my story because it's life and experiences happen and I've grown so much, but I'm happy to touch somebody with that. So I understand what you're saying about like, you get up, you choose, to do what you do regardless of any of the challenges you're going through. And thank you for your honesty. Like, I just love that about you. Like, I just love
Girl, sometimes I'm too honest. I be like, God, why did you do this to me? Like, what? But you know what? You know why I'm also honest? And I'm so glad you shared that, because just like, I don't know how many of us, especially, and I don't want to just only make this about women because, I definitely know that men deal with it as well. But, women, we put on these shields, we put on these faces, and we're expected to be able to have all these different, complete all these different titles and tasks and things like that. And when we do have those moments, I'm pretty sure a lot of us do. It's kind of like, like you said, I don't want to tell people. And so I remember when I was going through that time, the suicide thoughts, even to the point where I was looking up ways to do it. And I mean, Googling, like looking at statistics, who actually successfully does this. I was ready to go. And I remember in that phase, though, I had been put into a level of leadership where people had no idea I was dealing with this. Like, no, and I would get in front of these rooms and hotels and conferences and put on, everybody, we're going to live a number one lifestyle. It's going to be amazing. And I felt horrible that I'm secretly going through this, but yet putting on a face. And that's what we talk about even with social media today. I get sick of it. I get sick of it because it is so much pressure to be putting on this face of perfection, knowing that your whole life is in shambles.
Falling apart. Yep.
Falling apart. So I was watching this movie, and I do not even know the name of this movie. It was like a godsend. It was about this little boy who was living his life as a little girl. And it was very sad. It was a very sad movie. And you know, when you're depressed too.
Oh, look it up.
Everything is good, right? So he's living his life as a girl. And at the end, he did this video where he put up these cards and he was sharing his journey or her journey and just sharing what she had been through and all these different things. And I was like, ooh. Mind you, I had never been telling my business. Nobody know that I'm in a secret relationship of 5 years and that my car right now is parked and hidden because I can't even pay for it. And that, all these dumb mistakes that I've made financially and how I'm not really living the number one lifestyle. All these things I'm just not sharing. And so I see them do this video and put their truth out there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And it's still up. If you Google Taurea Avant depression on YouTube, it's still there. I put the video up. And I turned my phone off for like 2 days and just put the video up, set it, and just went about, just back to my depression. So then when I turned my phone back on, girl, my phone was going off. Ding, 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 ding. Everybody telling me they're going through depression or dealing with it. And it was at that moment that I said, I get it. And it's not for everyone, but I am no longer afraid. And it's to a degree of how you share it when you share, but I am the person who is willing to share their truth. And if it means that it could cost me followers, or if it could cost me customers, or if it could cost me things that are of this world, I don't care. I only care about living my full truth because since I've done that, I've never been as happiest. I won't say it's always been perfect, but I've never been as happiest. And so thank you for creating this platform for us to be able to share with intentionality so that we are able to impact somebody's life, even if it's just one person. But I know it's more than that, but I'm just really, really in a place of humility, gratitude. And man, I just love to share. I do.
Thank you. Thank you for that. One thing that I was thinking about was I had one speaking engagement and I was telling my story of depression, and I started talking about the stages of grief. And I went through each stage of grief, and I was going through and I was saying how I felt and what it did to me. And I brought it all the way through to acceptance. And at the end of my speech, I'm like, thank you so much. And I get off stage and I walk, and I had this lady come to me and she said, thank you for that. And I'm like, you're welcome. I'm all about sharing my story. And then she says, but you don't look like you would be the one to go through that.
Wow.
And I was like, that part, like, no, but everyone, I said, everyone's going through something, and you can never judge just by how someone looks. And I think it's important that it's even more important to share the story because you just don't know. And that day the slides wasn't working, but I showed her my phone. I was like, this is me. And it's a picture of me with a bathing suit on. But you can count my, like, girl, you can count my ribs. Like, it's really like, it's such because that was a moment where I was actually on vacation. Wow. And I look at that picture now and I get really sad, but I was actually on vacation. I was trying my best. Like, I'm having the time of my life. But when you look back at those photos, like, my face is like sunken in, and my collarbone is like popping, and my ribs are like showing. And I was so sick. I was so sick and I showed her, I was like, this was me, during that time, but you can never judge a book by its cover. And that's why it's always important that, you check on everyone, even your strong ones. So, I think it's important that we share our stories and we share our experiences, because you just never know. You just never know.
Yeah. Oh man, wow. Girl, I was not expecting you to say that when you said girl in the bathing suit, but
yeah, I'm gonna send you the picture. You're gonna be like,
please send it to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it is important that if you are given a space where people listen to you, that, and I don't say everybody, but people know, be willing to share those truths, because people need it. The fact that she came to you and said you look like you've never been through that, it just goes to show, what if you've never shared this? And people look at you from the outside, she just looks perfect. She's just a beautiful woman. She looks like everything's going for her, baby. And people make a decision that they're not worthy because they're looking at your right now and they're not looking at what you've been through.
My goodness. What advice would you give someone that is afraid to dive into their truth?
A lot of the times, the reasons why we're afraid to dive into it has nothing to do with us and everything to do with the outside world. Like, it literally, we don't want to do it because what will people think, right? What will they do business with me? Or will they think I'm crazy? This is the thing. Like you just said, everybody is going through it. And so the way that I envision it is, okay, story. I got so many stories too. I used to want to be an actress, but for a very short period of my life, right? I actually was a stand-in for The Family That Prays. And that's when I was like, oh, I could do this. I lucked up on this position. Okay. I was for Taraji P. Henson. They fired me because I was running my mouth telling the people that this is my first time ever on a movie set. I feel like I was doing good, but that's another story. So I ended up taking this acting class in Los Angeles. I went to LA for a month and took this international studies course, realized quickly that acting was not going to be for me, but I made an investment. So anytime I make an investment of my time and money, specifically time, I always like to walk away with something. What did I learn from this? And so there was this one thing that we did where we would practice what we were doing right before this scene started. Because the course was all about how to do what they call cold reads. Like, you're just given a script or sides, and you have to figure out how to become that character, like right then and there. Okay. So immediately we would go into the mind of, what was this person wearing? What were they doing? What were they, et cetera, et cetera. So I've always applied that to how I operate in business now, because I think about every single time that I share something, and if it's set on my heart to share it, it's because I need to, right? I always picture that person sitting at the edge of the bed that is literally at their enough is enough moment. They have just gone through something, or they're going through something that I have pushed through, and they are making some really serious decisions. Okay. And if I do not share it, then they may not make the right choice. And I take on, and now that's a big responsibility to take on. Yeah. But the truth is, as long as we are continuously waking up, there's still a purpose in our breath. And so everything we have gone through is not even for us. And so how am I to be so, and I don't want to say it in this way, but I just got to say it, because anytime we make it about something else outside of truly who we are, it's about ego, edging God out. So how could I be so egotistical to think that when I share this story, people are going to judge me? But what about the person who needs the story? Because that's who matters most. And so when you are thinking about getting and stepping into your truth, whether it's you sharing your truth, maybe it's you going to serve other women and men who might be going through this, you may not want to get into the space yet of telling everything about it, but you go help other people. Know that there was a purpose in that. And
And those who do have something to say, 9 times out of 10, they also dealing with it themselves. They just wish they was as brave as you were. So I try my best not to make it about the people who don't and who won't and who have something to say, and think about the one who is making a decision right now. Because I don't decide to talk about it, or I don't decide to help in this space, they may not make the right choice.
Yes, I love it. And that's true. Somebody is listening, even today, someone's listening, and your story, or even maybe part of my story, but it's going to touch someone's lives in some way. So take what you can take and utilize it. But please, I always say, share, tell your story, use your voice, y'all, use your voice. It took me so long to find my voice. I can't shut up, y'all. I'm sorry.
Right.
But it took so long to get here. I just got to keep going because I'm excited to be here.
I got to hear what I've got to say. Okay.
You got to listen to me for a little bit, just a little bit. But I just really believe that, we all just have such incredible stories, and we can just help one person. If we can just help one person, then we're doing it, because we did not go through. And like I said before, I'm a firm believer that we did not go through all of that just to go through it. We got to take the experience from it and take that lesson from it and continue to grow from it, because we are growing each and every day. Every day I'm learning something, and I'm willing to. I'm like, ooh, what can I learn from this person? What can I learn from that person? I didn't meet that person by accident. I met them for a reason. What can I learn from them? What did the Lord want me to take from them? Okay, wow, that was awesome. So I'm always like trying to learn as much as I can, and then just share as much as I can. I think it's important for us to continue to grow. And like I said, I watch you every day. So you're such an inspiration to me. So I'm always like, what's she doing? What's she got now? Where's she going? What is she doing?
Right. What's she talking about now? Where's she at? Yeah, child. And if I'm in the car, it's because something just popped into my mind. My attention span is not long enough for me to say, you know what, I'm gonna wait until I get to the house or wait till I get into the office. I need to talk about it right now.
Right now.
But like I said, we never know. It might be somebody sitting on the edge and they need to hear it, whether it's a business, whether it's personal, relationship. I feel like that's probably why some men probably, might be scared of me too, Chad, because they might be like, she gonna get there, tell all her business. Y'all didn't know I had a boo thing. I didn't tell y'all all of that. But there's certain aspects that I know that God, when it's time, that I'm supposed to share those things. And every single one of us, we are all in that same space to help somebody. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to switch gears, and I want to talk about the Book Profit Club, because you over here like doing everything. So I want to know your like what inspired you to start this, and all the wonderful people you're helping, because you're just like helping everybody. So talk me through that.
Well, first of all, the way I even got into the Book Profits Club was, first I was helping people to write books. The way I even help people to write books, because I wrote my own. So I was in network marketing, and I had become one of the top leaders in the company. But I realized this is my first time really ever in the industry of network marketing. A lot of people, if you're not in this industry, you call it a pyramid or, all types of stuff, right? Anyways, so my first time ever being in it, and I realized it was a large population of people who did not see network marketing as real business. It's so crazy. Like, you ever been like in such a bubble in a circle, and you like when I used to live in Virginia, I was like, Virginia is the best state in the world. Like, we popping out here, we doing big things. Then you go somewhere, you're like, how you don't know about Virginia? That's how I felt about network marketing. Like, how could you want to do network marketing? It's the most amazing thing, right? And I realized it was a large number of people who was like, no. And so I ended up writing a book after investing $10,000 into a weekend course about writing books, forgot about really all of that. But it was like, it clicked for me when I sat down with this lawyer who was like, he didn't want to hear nothing about no coffee, network marketing. So I said, what can I do to earn respect, to earn the ear of people who I even, I hold in high regard, lawyers, doctors, other entrepreneurs, things like that outside of network marketing. And it was writing a book. That was the answer. So I wrote that book. And when I tell you, now, I didn't write a book about my life. I wrote a book about how to have success. And guess what most people want to know how to do? How to have success. They don't care about your career. Not yet. They will one day. Everybody will want my biography, but not yet. I wrote about something that I knew people were looking for.
And so when I wrote this book, oh my goodness, I had no clue this was going to happen. Doors were opening up. I had organizations. Hey, can you come and speak at this organization? Can you come speak at this workshop? Da, 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 da. I was like, this is amazing. People got to know about this. Yeah. And so that's where I got into the space of kind of like now showing other people how to do it. At first, I didn't want to help people to write books. I just wanted them to learn how to use the books. And so of course, I ended up still helping people write books. Like you said, 6,000 plus speakers and coaches to become published authors through our various different programs, and helping to launch people's publishing companies that are helping other people to become authors as well. And, you know, it has been a true blessing. So what happened was, so now in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, now that we've helped you guys get these books, you must know how to market. You must know how to get yourself out there. I'm pretty sure you know what you're doing. I would go back and check out everybody and see how they were doing with their books, what they were doing with the programs. People doing something totally different. Now, the truth is there's a percentage of people that no matter how much information you give them, they're going to be scatterbrained. They're going to be all over the place. They're going to be doing different stuff. It's just, that's the world we live in. People's attention spans are shorter and shorter. People cannot stay focused. However, for the few that are like, I just couldn't figure out how to grow the book or leverage the book, that's when I was like, well, the biggest challenge you're having is you think you're going to use the book to make the money, but the book is leveraged to make money. So not the selling of the book, but the leveraging of the right book. And that's where Book Profits Club came into play, because now it's about showing you guys how to have the right book, learn to leverage it. And we have a new program that we're launching calling our 4 Pillars of Platforms, where we help you to get on or show you how to get on conference stages, what to do when you get on the conference stages, show you how to get on podcasts, what to do when you get on the podcast, show you how to get on more media platforms. And then we also have our Author All-Stars magazine. So these are our platforms that we really want to show authors who wish to be speakers and coaches how to turn those books into actual full-time businesses, because most authors are not making money. In fact, 80% of authors do not make over $10,000 a year. So I'm here to change that.
Yep. And it's definitely because they don't know how. So you really like found what is the problem? They literally don't know how. When you said conference, I watched your last conference you did in Canada. I think it was Canada.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I thought it was interesting. You had the link. You had the books in the magazine, and you were like, you know, I'm talking, but you guys need to be filling out this link, and I need y'all to be coming up here. I was like, oh my God, that's really cool. I might take that one. I'm gonna take it from you if that's okay.
Oh, please do. Please do.
But I thought that was really cool because you found a way to like connect with your audience. You got them engaged, and then you also like low key, like gave them a copy of your book for free, which is going to allow them to look into you more, which is going to, again, do what you want to do. You planted the seed. And I thought that was genius.
A book is a marketing tool. It's not the product.
Yeah.
You are the product. Okay. You are the product. So we have taken, in this day and age of social media, it's like we don't want to spend no money on marketing. But think about it. Back in the day, like if you had a business, you had to spend thousands and thousands. And so now the new way of being able to market yourself, especially as a speaker and a coach, is leveraging your book. Because I know that the book is what leads people to the retreat, or leads people to the package, or leads people to the coaching. I mean, I definitely know or can see you doing retreats, healing retreats. Every woman loves a good retreat, baby.
Listen, a retreat is on my list to do. Like that is one of my goals, is like, I want to be able to host a big retreat. I might have to connect with you on that one to help me out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And so I don't have a problem with giving away a book that cost me $5 to print if it can turn into a return of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And I've had that happen over and over and over and over again. So you got to learn to leverage that thing.
Yeah. Like I said, you definitely solved the problem. What is the number one thing that you see authors, the mistake you see authors make besides the marketing part? Like if they say, I'm going to be an author, and then what? What is the one biggest mistake that you see them make?
Oh my gosh. Do you really want me to tell the truth? Or
I do.
Because everybody hates me when I say this, because I really go off on a tangent. But I mean, they don't hate me in real life, because how could you hate me? I mean, I'm God's child.
You're amazing.
Right? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Number one mistake. It's like sometimes when I share this, it's like immediately I see the faces go. Okay, so years ago, a company was founded that became the place where all authors would put their books online to sell because e-commerce was not really a thing. And it was a company called Amazon. Mm-hmm. Amazon is the thing that every single author thinks because everybody's doing it, that I need to be listed on Amazon. And also I should focus on being this made up title that Amazon created, which is called Amazon bestseller. Amazon the company is a genius company. They are not an e-commerce company. They are a database company. What they do is acquire information all day long. And so what we have been programmed into believing is that, okay, Amazon says, you know what are ways that we can get people to list their products on our stuff, list their books? Let's create a bestsellers title, like a little seal that nobody really ever confirms if you really are or not, right? You just say you are. So we created this award called the Amazon bestseller. And guess what we're going to do? They have to list their book on our website. We will give them about 20 to 30% of their profit. We will keep their leads, and we will give them, in exchange of us keeping their leads, their profits, and everything, we'll give them a little seal that says they're an Amazon bestseller or top 5 or top 7. As authors, I think our biggest mistake that we make is that when we finally write this book, we get caught up in the sauce of this world of titles and accolades. Did you write the book to change people's lives? So this is the thing. How are you changing someone's life if you can't even be in touch with them? If when they buy your book, you can't even follow up with them. If they can't even know when you have another book coming out. If when you spent all the time sending them to Amazon, then Amazon starts sending your customer emails saying, based on what you bought, we think you're going to like this book too. Your direct competition. I mean, it's just we have been programmed into believing that this big machine is the machine that is going to be the end all be all to help us, when in fact, thousands of books every single day are being published on Amazon and people are never making real money. So what I would say is stop being the person that just because, you know how your mom used to say, if everybody jumping off the bridge, you gonna jump off the bridge too? No, you used to look at your mom like, that is the dumbest question in the world. No one wouldn't jump off the bridge. But why wouldn't you? Everybody else is doing it. And that's how everybody operates in this space. We chase after the titles instead of chasing after impact. And if you chase after impacting enough people, well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get the titles. Side note, let me tell you how you could be a bestseller. Okay. First question. Are you the only person in your family who has written a book? Okay. If you are the only one and you've sold one book, then you are now a bestseller. If you've got other people in your family that have sold a book, what about the people in your household? If you are the only one, you are a bestseller. Guys, let's not get hung up on those titles.
Yeah.
So I think if we would more focus on, okay, let's write this book and figure out the steps and techniques of marketing to get them in the right hands so that we can follow up, that we can build a true business, a database of people buying our books, how we can follow up with them when the next book is coming out, when the retreat is coming out, when the coaching. It's a proper system of follow-up. We're going to see more people have more success instead of giving our success to the machine. So that's one thing. There's so many other things that I can give, but everybody, when I always talk about that one, because everybody, they grimace at me when I say, you should stop trying to be an Amazon bestseller and focus on being the bestseller of your business. Build your database, build it up. Now, there's other ways that you can actually still do the Amazon if you just have to have the title. There's ways you can do it and at the same time build your database, which there are techniques behind that. But I am going to encourage you, if you look at top 6 and 7 figure coaches and speakers, they're not pushing people to the Amazon. They're pushing people to their website. Why?
Yeah, straight to my website.
Building a database. Yeah, send them to your own. Build your database.
Give me your email. I got you.
Right. Like, no, right?
Oh my God. I think it's important that you said that because, you know, as business owners, that is a big mistake, period, that I do see people make. And I'm like, y'all got to focus on your community, like your niche down. Oh, I don't want to. I can't. Listen, those people that show up for you. That's who you want. Like, you know, I'm sharing stuff. My email list is very important to me. And growing that was very important, but that's my community. That's my family. So before anything goes out, like it's going through my email first. And that's normally like, oh, okay, I did pretty well just through my email because that's my family. Like I love talking to you. I would talk to them all day. Oh, let me tell y'all this that happened, or let me share this with you guys, or check out my new blog. And then I'll put it other places. But I just feel like it's so important to have that community, and people have to know, like, you don't need you're not for everybody.
Nope.
And that's okay. We're not supposed to be for everybody, but yes, focus on your community. Send them to your website. Send them that way,
Please
and connect with them and have my brunch and send the ticket sales out through my email. That's my people right there before I start sending it to these people that I don't even know.
Right. That are already
there, so.
a trillion dollar company. I don't know if they're trillion yet, but doggone it, they're darn near. And so we're giving everybody our money. And I'm glad you said, because that's actually a second mistake, is niching it down or niching it down. Everybody think everybody is their reader. Everybody think everybody is their person. And the reason why I attract the people that I attract is because everybody is not my person. I have conversations to my person on social. People that can relate to my story are the ones who typically are my clients or customers. Mm-hmm. And so you're right. That's a second. There's so many mistakes that authors make. I mean, and it's like you said, all business owners. It's not just an author thing. It's a coach thing. It's a speaker thing. It's an entrepreneur. You want to sell weight loss products. You're trying to attract all women. No, why don't you attract the woman who's trying to get back, revenge? You remember that show called The Revenge Body or something like that? Yeah. It was a very niche audience, right? Because it was a woman or even man who broke up and wanted to get their ex back, coming out looking hot. That's a very targeted audience. And think about how many breakups today. If you had a weight loss product, and I would call it the Get Him Back weight loss or something like that. Oh, baby, I had all types of people pouring in, wanting to do business versus all women that want to, because every woman wants to lose weight. I don't care how big or small. So
lose something.
Right. A chin. I mean, we're trying to lose anything we can. I've been looking at my chin lately. I said, no, what is that? Hold on now. We gotta do them exercises. Yeah, gotta do them exercises.
You're a mess.
Girl, I have a good time. Yes, I am. I'm a whole
You're
mess.
so funny. You're so funny. No, but I do think that's important. So thank you for sharing that. What advice would you give to the person who wants to start the business, but they scared? I want to talk about fear for a second.
Fear, false evidence appearing real.
Say it again.
Fear is false evidence appearing real.
There you go.
Man, the worst thing that'll happen is that it just simply does not work, and you'll learn. Everybody that I've ever met that has ever had tremendous amount of success, they say they have failed over and over and over and over again. And so many times the fear might be the fear of failure or even the fear of success. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. It's crazy to think that people will give you their hard-earned money for whatever product or service it is that you have, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we take on a lot of responsibility for that. But I will tell you this, your number one job as an entrepreneur is to provide the best product and service that you can, to continue to evolve in that space. It's not going to be perfect. You are going to mess up. There are going to be people who don't necessarily love your product or service, but you do not give up. It is so amazing when you know that somebody has bought something that you have provided, whether it be services, products, regardless, and they come back and they tell you that it has helped them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. There's nothing that I can tell you that feels better than that when it comes to doing what you've been called to do, right? Mm-hmm. The next thing is, for anybody that is fearful of this business idea, I want you to think about it like this. First and foremost, is it truly a business that you know that you've been called to do, or you saw someone else doing it? Mm-hmm. Because I see this happen a lot. A lot of people are getting into businesses based on what they're looking at left and right. When you know that God has called you to do something else, you just keep on procrastinating. Mm-hmm. You keep pushing it away. You keep trying. Oh, I see this golden carrot. I see this person over here just made a lot of money doing churro. Let me do that first. And then no. No, do not be distracted. Make sure that this is truly something that you know that this is what your calling is. And if you don't know, one of the easiest ways that I always like to say to figure it out, think about the stuff you did when you was a kid. Think
Mm-hmm.
about the stuff that people come to you without, they just always asking you advice on. When you were a child, you used to do stuff without thinking about it, things you love to do. And then as an adult, people come to you for insight and information. These are places where you could run a successful business.
Yeah.
There literally is a company that became a $1 million company by mistakenly creating a glue that now gets stuck onto a piece of paper, and they create stacks and stacks of these little small papers of different sizes and colors called Post-it. That's a
Accident.
multi-million-dollar business. And so when we're looking left and looking right and trying to identify a business based on what we're seeing others do, instead of pushing forward in what God has called you to do, it's every day wasted. But know that if it is something that you're supposed to do, you have no other option but to win. It may not be right away, but it will work for you. So operate in that fear anyways, because 9 times out of 10, whatever that false evidence that you have created in your mind is not even your reality.
Yep.
So push and get around people once you figure out what you want to do, then get around people, whether it's physically or virtually, that are actually in that space in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and plug into them. Don't plug into people who are not on the path to where you're trying to go.
Yes. All of that. Do it
so much to say.
Do it scared. I do it scared. I always say I have a conversation with fear every day.
Yeah.
Like I have all these goals and stuff I want to do. And I'm like, Lord, if I could just and if I could get this interview, or if I could this, and then it comes. And I'm like, am I sick today? I don't feel good today. Oh, right. But that's the fear.
I don't think I'm ready.
No. And you was listening. You was really listening, weren't you? But and then I'm like, all right, let me get myself together. But I do everything I do. I say I do it scared, and I'm gonna do it. Whether the fear comes, I'm still gonna do it because the result is bigger than what I'm feeling right now, and I know I'm gonna touch someone, regardless of what I'm feeling right now. So I have to do it. So I do it scared, and I may not look scared when I'm out there, y'all, but I'm scared.
All are. You know what's funny though? It's whenever you look back on the things that you've achieved, the parts of that entire process that tend to be the most not necessarily exciting, but the ones that you remember the most is in the process. It's not when you get to the destination. It's in the journey. And so when you go back and you think about man, I did all of this and I was nervous that's the stuff that you really kind of dwell on. When you finally hit it, because you've already lived in it, it's like, oh, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I promise you'll look back on you operating in that fear and be like, man, this was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do it scared, y'all. Do it scared. And so also I say a mindset thing too. All of it for my experience and my rediscovery was mindset. Because of my past experiences, I believed that I was not worthy of anything great happening in my life. And so when stuff would happen that was really good, I would somehow think about how it was maybe luck and I did not deserve any of the good things that were happening. And I had to shift that. I had to shift the mind completely to say I am worthy of good things. I am worthy of, the bad things happening aren't supposed to. So the bad things that would happen, I'd be like, that's supposed to happen and I would try to make it make sense to why all the bad things are happening. And so I had to flip flop that. So I also say, do it scared, and mindset plays a big part of wanting to do the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you say to yourself on a consistent basis will always be directly connected to the actions that you take. And so when we are out here doing it scared, you also have to be very conscious about what you're saying when you're doing it scared. I don't like to say anything out my mouth. Now, trust me, because I'm human. I ain't perfect. I mess up. But the more that you do this, the more aware you get of what you're saying. So let's say, for example, I am going to do some sales calls today because I have to do sales calls to make money.
Right.
And I'm afraid of doing the sales calls. Not sure where it came from, but that's one of the biggest fears that most people have is picking up a phone or, scheduling an appointment. Well, before I do the sales calls, I'm saying out loud, oh, well, I got these calls today, but I know I ain't gonna make no sales. So you're doing the activity, but you're saying out loud, but I know I'm not gonna make any sales. You will literally, when you are on the phone, do everything to prove yourself right. Because subconsciously, I'm so glad you said this too, talking about it, because subconsciously, you got multiple consciousness, right? But we're going to talk about the conscious and the subconscious, right?
Subconscious, yep.
The subconscious mind does not think it's crazy, it's right, it's wrong, it's good, it's bad. It just is. Mm-hmm. So if you are consciously saying all the time, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, subconsciously you will do stuff so that you will be truly broke, because the subconscious says, wait a minute, you said we broke. That means we cannot have money. So let's make sure that we align ourselves to not have money because we're broke. Mm-hmm. If we say, I can't do sales, I can't do sales, I can't do sales, you may have the best script in the world, the best sales coach in the world. But if you are saying out loud, subconsciously, your mind is going to say, we can't do sales, we can't do sales. You're going to project that on the call. Yep. And so I've had to be very careful. And it ain't always the case. But even stuff that may look as though it's my reality. I'll never forget one time, he was my mentor at the time in network marketing. I called him up, David Imonitier. He's a multimillionaire in the industry of network marketing. And I called him up and I was telling him how my bank account, I ain't got no money. So David was really good at, he still is, like, if you call David with some negativity or anything that's opposite of what he believes is your truth, he will get off the phone with you. And so I'm telling him how, well, I ain't got no money, so I really don't know how I'm supposed to do it. He says, Taurea, you do realize that who you are today is not based off of the actions you took today or where you are circumstantially. Let's just say that. Where you are circumstantially today is not based off of who you are today. It's actually based off of who you were 90 days ago. It used to not make sense to me because I used to be like, but David, my bank account is negative. He said, Taurea, well, do you want to change that? I said, yes. He says, well, you have to stop saying you have no money. Because everything that you consistently say, you will always follow the same actions. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Yep. And so I had to stop saying, because who does it hurt or help for me to tell them I'm broke? Nobody. So why don't I start speaking abundance? That I have a bank account with multiple commas, that I attract money, that I am in the best shape of my life. My body is amazing. It ain't where I want it to be, but I'm not going to get online and tell everybody I'm fat, I got rolls, and you know what I'm saying? No, I'm speaking abundance. I'm speaking where I'm going, not where I am today, because that's based off of the actions I took in the past. It's hard work, though, when you're old. When you're used to doing everything with your physical eye. Ooh, it's hard because you see in your physical eye, but we have other eyes. And so we have to start operating with those eyes that God gave us.
Yeah. It makes a big difference. What you speak, what you feed your mind matters. What you feed yourself matters. And it was hard for me. I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all it was easy. It was very weird because, again, I was programmed for negativity. Anything negative, I got you. Like, just come on. Like, I'm carrying it. Anything positive, I was like, wait a minute. Stop. I don't.
Right. That ain't going to work.
It took some training. But put the work in, y'all. Put the work in, no matter how odd it feels, feed yourself that. It's not saying live. And I think that's the difference too. I'll say this real quick is it doesn't mean that we live in a fairy tale world where we're like, everything is lollipops and gumdrops and we're skipping down the candy road. We're not saying that. But what I'm saying is speak positivity into your life, speak up the things that you want to happen. Like you said, say that, like, I need my bank account to have some dollars up in there, some abundance, speak it. But it's not shying away from reality because bad things do happen. And again, it's how we react to those things and being self-aware. And I know when something happens, it's going to take me like the first 24 hours. Don't nobody talk to me because I'm going through right now.
Exactly. It's okay to have a day.
It's okay.
Have a minute. Have an hour, but like, let's not keep, you told us this last week. You know what I'm saying? So you're still sitting in that. We
Mm-hmm.
have to figure out ways. But yeah, no, because like you said, for me, I used to be like, well, how, if I don't address it, then how do I fix it? It was
Mm-hmm.
confusing to me. I was
Yep.
like, am I just supposed to ignore that my account is negative? I got bills to do? No. But you're never gonna feel good about doing an activity if you're only focusing on the lack. And so, yes,
Right.
you can address those things, but now we need to get into solutions mode. We need to get
Mm-hmm.
into where are we going? What are we doing? And child, it'll be days like you said. It might be a day where I just need a day.
Yeah.
Take a beat.
Yep.
I'll be back.
And I'll
But
be
I'm not
back.
about to get around y'all and be negative with y'all. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in my house.
Yep.
And I'm gonna work on some game planning so that when I get back out in this world, I am speaking where I'm going and not where I am.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I
Yes.
want to thank you so much for being a part of the Beauty and You podcast and being a part of my journey. I am so honored and I'm so excited that you were here to share your story with everybody. I'm really excited. Like, I'm really, really excited.
Well, Chiquita, thank you so much. Man, I definitely feel that with what you're doing here, you are truly going to impact so many people. Um, it's not only just about having a conversation just about making money and business and career, but you're having a conversation that is allowing people to even reach further out and to build better balance in their lives. And I'm really grateful about this topic and how you even started off the conversation that we had today. And I just look forward to seeing more people and really plugging into your podcast and plugging into your movement and retreats and all that stuff that's coming out, girl. Because I know it's about to be on and
Yeah.
popping.
Thank
Amen.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Can you let the audience know where they can find you so they can keep up with you like I do?
Absolutely. Well, listen, y'all. So this is what I'm going to do, and this is me educating as well. I do not give out multiple links and things like that. In fact, I'm going to give every single one of the listeners a free training. If you are a speaker or a coach, or maybe you've ever thought about being a speaker and a coach, and you want to truly learn how to have success, I have a free masterclass where I talk about the 4 pillars of platforms. I talk about how to be able to generate $10,000 a month working 2 to 4 hours per day. Literally being able to have a life of freedom, a life of balance, a life of happiness, using your words to impact the world. So this masterclass is about an hour. So it's valued at over $297.
Awesome.
You're going to get it for free. All you need to do is go to www.10k, that's 10kbook.com. Okay.
Okay.
Now, regardless if you're an author or not, y'all, that's not even a big deal. We can show you how to get a book done in days. We want to show you how to leverage your experiences, leverage your past so that you can build that business. So if you go to 10kbook.com, it'll get you access. And then guess what I'll do? I'll send you all of my social media handles, everything, how to get in touch with me and all that stuff. Do that. So just go to 10kbook.com.
Oh my God, you're awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Awesome. No,
You better
thank
take
you.
that class, y'all. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And you guys, I will see you soon. Until next time.
Bye, y'all.